I'm a solution architect, so I'm responsible for product. My small role is being the manager of the company. There is not so much to manage. We don't have 100 people. It's much more work to manage the product. About BI4Dynamics, this is not a sales pitch, but how BI4Dynamics started is an interesting story. I started Microsoft Dynamics business in '96, so quite a lot, many years ago, 25 years ago. And after a few years, we were growing really fast. We grew from 25 to 100 people in 4 years, and we also quadrupled the number of consultants and the number of the revenue. And the goal, my goal in organization, we were having Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia, and Serbia. We were operating in 4 countries. Was to standardize everything. So standardize how we implement Microsoft Dynamics, not BI. No sign of BI, or no big plan of BI was there. So at that time, we wanted to standardize how we do the ERP project, Microsoft Dynamics NAV mostly, also CRM, and later also AX. And which means standardize questionnaires on analysis, standardize metadata import of master files from different systems, development and everything. So a part that was not possible to be standardized was reporting in Dynamics, because you cannot just standardize it. If customer has different data structure, then you have to add more keys to the transactional table, which slows down the system, or sometimes customer have more revenue and the decimal that you have for standard application doesn't work anymore, because you have to, in the reporting that is static, you have to foresee. So doing the reporting inside of the any ERP system doesn't work. So we had one very smart guy who did something on the database. So that was the big plan, to do something on the database. So he was left there alone for, I don't know, 3 or 6 months, and came back with something on the database. So we did, when he showed me, this was a data warehouse with the cubes. It looked good. It was content, it was technology. At that time, it was a bunch of script without any proper installation and so on. The content was there, and it looked good. Long story short, the problem was how to price it, because there was nothing similar on the market. So we decided to price 1 cube 1,000. It was not euro. Yeah, I think euro. So we said, okay, let's be 1,000, and that was the price, and that was the product, and that was what customer really liked. And then just by chance, our marketing department apply us for an award. Award that Microsoft is giving you as a award for stimulating partners who do a good job. So we got 2 awards, really, unplanned, and one in New Orleans and another one, I don't know, in Atlanta or something. I forgot, but it was, worldwide award for the product. But actually, the Microsoft gives you the award not because you are so good. We were not that great. Don't believe that we were having, a golden touch for BI at that time, by far. But Microsoft is doing this really smart. He gives us a reward, and everyone else is jealous. Oh, why don't we have a reward? So everyone is working hard to get the award next year. So it actually happened. Everyone was trying to work harder on ISV products, so that Microsoft system was getting, ecosystem was getting richer with more and more functionality from the ISVs. ISV means independent software vendors, where you extend the Microsoft functionality. In 2011, I have sold the ERP business. And continue what at that time were only few people as a department. And long story short, now we have a lot of customers and businesses around the world, and we will be growing in the future, and we have a sound base of the product for now. So the goal and the spirit of the software is still the same. It's a standardized solution for something which is really difficult to do, data warehousing. And it's not just standardized. At the beginning, it was a bunch of static scripts. Now, this is also super flexible with our wizard, and we do everything what could take a lot of time. Now, there are not a lot of organizations in the world that they do the same, but they are. So there are also others who are doing this, what is called data warehouse automation, which is standardizing script generating for some modeling here. But we believe from the content perspective, we do it definitely the best. From a SQL data warehouse perspective, I also believe that our scripts are really very good, fast, optimized. We have space for improvement in some areas like making more connectors to different sources, which is something that we are going to do this year. We have a way to improve also to have the web browser, zero footprint, no installation required, which doesn't bring any functionality, but just supporting the everything is easier. So this is also what we are going to do. But the heart, the engine that is there, data warehouse and the wizard generated SQL part is there. It won't be changed. So that is important here. Now, over the years, we have gained a lot of customers, and this is just the list of the customers that you can see. So actually, getting a customer on the name, it's nothing special, I would say, because that's a standardized business. Sometimes there is a no-name customer, but it's a bigger pain than having something for a big customer. So the customers are all dynamic customers that they are in different level of organizational structure or knowledge or readiness for running the business. So that is affecting more how demanding they are, how well they are trained on the basics like Excel and Power BI, how well they are organized and so on. But that is a bigger difference than the industries that they have, because we have industries practically everywhere and the size of the business is quite different here. And going closer to the product now, after having this introduction, this is what we standardize. And this is a picture from the BC. I could choose also the picture from F&O, so doesn't really matter. And there are two differences here. So the source here or here is very similar. Cloud or on-premise, Microsoft didn't change a lot. Either the BC or F&O last few years is pretty much the same. So we take 180 tables from the source and create the data warehouse. Data warehouse is SQL database, which has several schemas and store procedures and views. In total, I would say, I didn't count, but I would say probably more than 1,000 of these scripts are generated. So let me just show, this is a data warehouse. So from the name of the database, you don't know if this is a data warehouse or is it a database which is holding some time registration. You don't know. And the structure of all databases have this folder structure, which is, I would say, just another database in the SQL server. So how you know that this is a data warehouse if it's not by the name? Actually, you should know the functionality, and it's not written what functionality is. So you have to ask the owner what kind of database is and what is the function and what is application that is running this database doing. So here we have schemas, which is the first letters before the name of the table, dim, fact, help. This smells like data warehouse. We'll not do a lot of introduction to data warehouse, but these are some tables that we create in BI4Dynamics. And then we have views, which are here to do transformation. Why we have views? I will not go into that many details, but just trust me, when you are doing dimensions, this is the right way to do for doing the transformation. And there are stored procedures, which are very important ingredient of data warehouse. And you see there are quite many. And again, if I just say load GL transaction, which is quite simple, one, and you have it. And with these scripts, with these hundreds of scripts, we are creating a really good content. And this is a data warehouse at its best. Everything doesn't end with these tables, dim and fact table. Dim are dimensional table, fact are transactional table. Everything doesn't end. However, there is a 99% of data transformation going in this business data warehouse. The last leg of transformation is in analysis services. In this case, analysis services is a tabular. It is on my computer. It could be also in the cloud. The functionality is the same. It just the access is different here. So this is what everyone is using from user perspective as a database to connect. So here you would connect and browse with Excel or Power BI, BI4Dynamics data. And analysis services just gives maybe, let's say, 1% of data transformation. We have some calculations here, hierarchies, translations, and pretty much we could live without analysis services. However, this 1% is super important for user convenience, so we would connect to Excel with Excel and Power BI to analysis database. But the heart and the content and the brain and everything is in the data warehouse. So in theory, we could connect with Power BI and create what is missing in analysis services, also with the front end, Excel, not much, but Power BI, yes, and keep this thing running without analysis services. But that's not what we would recommend, because this 1%, it's quite good. It's really made everything for the user. So let's say hierarchies, calculations, and everything here. This is really nice things to do. Users, when we are, working with BI4Dynamics, implementing, if it's not IT, we just say, okay, you will be connected to this black box, either on-premise or in the cloud, and you will be browsing the data. So that is long story short, and users don't really know much, nor they want to know much about technology. IT, yes, but IT team, internal IT team, we just say, okay, you see, this is a database, and we will show you how to manage permissions. And that's where we set up roles and permissions to control who can see what kind of data. Otherwise, that is, let's say, technology behind. Most of our customers, smaller, they do not know or don't care much about what technology we are using. They just say, how much does it cost? What is the benefit for me? How can I do the reporting, or how can we do the changes, or customer, or we do the changes? Otherwise, customer these days have other businesses to do where they should be focused, so it's not their primary business to be very knowledgeable about. But if someone wants to go that part, if IT does their own work, we do. So this is a data warehouse. And this is a data warehouse when we do the load on-premise. So the load on-premise would go straight forward like this. Where we are in the cloud, there Microsoft doesn't allow you to access data with any other tool, and it makes data available for export. And that's kind of not really very fast for the Business Central. There are going to be some improvements shortly on the way for the F&O. So there is an intermediate layer of data in the Azure Data Lake where the data are exported or hosted, and that's where we do the data warehouse. So this intermediate part is for all cloud installations, which we will do at the end of this week. But the data warehouse and analysis services, these two parts are very much the same. Of course, the connector is different. Here we have some poly-based feature with external tables, which we will see, but the core, this guy here, is the same, and the reports are the same. Now, what are the roles in order to achieve this product development? So this is a team work, and what is the team being built from? So we have development, implementation, and sales and marketing. Okay, so development team is built from SQL developers and .NET developers. So let's start with the .NET developer. So what do the .NET developer do? So .NET is taking care about building blocks of a product. So every functionality, every part of this product is built by .NET, which means now I connect it to a database. This connector has been built with a .NET. A database means SQL and analysis services. There is some connector. Permissions to read this. And then reading all the tables, reading all the tables in the source. So if I want to see what tables are in the source, I see these are the tables in my source. Then what is in tables and columns, what is in the folder structure of application. You will not know everything, just for an impression what the .NET part does here. So the .NET part knows, for example, what is in these folders, and in these folders, let me just try and find this one here, and all these structures, all these tables, files have some meaning. So that's behind the scenes development here. And then when we do some development or installation, that is .NET part here. So this would be doing some development. If I'm doing the installation, so how to read the company, how to select global dimension, map it to the local, add the local currency here, select the modules so that the right modules will pick up the right SQL scripts to be generated, to deploy all the script to pick up the right methods or functions from DLLs and do the right job by implementing these modules, deploying the structures, and then processing means loading the data. That's all .NET. So .NET is one small icon and then functionality behind there, or a process flow. So we have more process flow. So what is, when we hit update, which scripts are being executed. So that's all .NET part here. Installation, what is in installation part, which processes are being done here. That's .NET part. So the .NET is a product part, and most of the development in the future is going to be based on the .NET. Most of the development in the past was done by a SQL development team, where we didn't have such a strong functionality, easy of use as we have today, but we have the template. What do I mean by template? Very simple. If we create, for example, a dimension, and I create a dimension customer, and this is a customer dimension. I will select a customer table. I'll just give you this. So this list comes from the .NET, and I will select the fields. So let's select some group fields. So I'm just selecting those which have code. Okay, like this, some name. I will not do a lot. Some option field types, option field, some type, partner type, contact type, some status perhaps, no, something with a reserve. Okay, option field. So I already pick up some of the fields. So I didn't do something SQL like special and so on. I just selected fields. Don't worry how these fields are coming from, we will know. So after I have these fields, and I could do a friendly name and hierarchies, I generate this script. So the script that have been generated behind the scene have been using a template which SQL developer put into the place. .NET was selecting the fields, and SQL developer was saying, hey, you want to create a customer? Okay, so you will create a table. This is what you need to do to run the data warehouse. So these are the fields that are there. Then a view Okay, I'm doing the right part, framework. Let me just see. Framework, yes. And loading dimension. So all these scripts, everything that I do has been done with some templates, and these templates are done from SQL. So .NET doesn't know what it does because the instruction is getting from the SQL. So that these three tables, these three scripts, and the one script that is added into the analysis model, that is appended in the model. If I would open it in Notepad++, that is also a customer table with instruction what to do for the analysis services. So this is the content is being given with the SQL. So I would say if a solution is not working, then in most cases would be, let's say, easily to say something is wrong, probably on .NET part, which manifests as a wrong permission, wrong connection, string, or something like that. If on the other side we have some duplicates, or if we have slow performing script, then probably something is on the SQL. I'm saying it from a troubleshooting perspective, but you will see over the time what is SQL, what is .NET, just to understand what are the two types of development here. The wizard or code generator is .NET part using templates created or given by SQL team. So it's all very interrelated. The more functionality that we build and we are going to build are going to be .NET. In the future, it will be more .NET, and SQL still will contribute functionality, but less, because the majority of these things has been over the years already done. And the SQL will be still the language that will generate the data model. It can change in the future, but for now, this is still the best solution worldwide, because the database is the best, language is programmable, scalable, we can do anything. Okay, so this is a development here. Then when the product is developed, then we have to implement it. After an interest, then the sales team organizes, gives some information about the product, brochure, and so on. So all this information is actually already by default available on our webpage. So if you would go for, let's say, Business Central, then if you go to the, let's say, resources, if I would go, there is a lot of Power BI dashboard that you can get here. This is something that sales would send to the customer. And fact sheets, this is something that Ivancho did just lately. So sometimes they want to see more about what is there in terms of the measures and dimensions, and brochure. And you see this is a brochure. So these kind of links are given. Also together, they say, okay, just please have a look into the videos. We have done latest video about inventory, sales, and receivable analysis, and a simple installation of wizard-driven tutorial. And we are giving more. So these are just lately. You see, it's like 4 days, 1 week, 3 weeks, 1 month. This is what sales will do. Provide additional information, and all this marketing material, it's very professional. It's very informative. We give way more information than anyone else, for sure, and the quality is very high. So this is what the sales does. After that, we do a presentation. In most cases, I'm doing the presentation simply because of the background that I have Dynamics knowledge and BI knowledge, and in 1 short hour, customer would bring IT team, business users, finance, manufacturing. It's kind of everything. And if we give good answer and competent answer, then this looks good for us. So after the presentation, then our goal is to do a POC. What POC says, proof of concept, or trial. You will see trial. We really urge or propose or suggest to go for POC, and that is a very important part of our business. Because, we said when we were setting up the business, who will trust, like if you go 10 years back, who will trust one small company from Slovenia? They don't even know where Slovenia is. They'll miss it probably with Slovakia. And we don't have a great development software companies here in Slovenia like we would have in United States or in UK or in Israel or somewhere. There are no track records, and who knows if we are cowboys or not, right? So we don't have a great reputation. We don't have a bad reputation, but no reputation coming a software company from Slovenia. So we said, okay, let's forget about what we are. Let's propose them to install BI4Dynamics on their hardware, on their data, and let's see how the data are, and let's see how good the product is and how competent are when we are discussing about business intelligence and actually their business problems. And this is where we are really good, which means if customer goes for POC, 80% of them are going to buy, which is extremely high percentage, extremely high. If they don't go to POC, then kind of weird thing it is. It doesn't happen many times the customer doesn't want to go. They may be going in 3 months or in a year or in 2 years, but that is really important for our process. And through that, we have a lot of communication. We show them if there is a bug, we fix it. Bug can happen anywhere, like anything can happen on that time. It's not a lot. And we achieve a lot in a short time, and that is what customers really like. And because we invest all these things for free, actually it's here, 30-day trial, guided installation, Power BI, Excel reports, get insight, support, and then customer makes a decision. It's a risk-free decision because after 30 days, they know what they get. They know how much it will cost. They know how it will be implemented in their organization. Is it difficult to know Power BI, or they already have some knowledge? Who will do it? Our team or their team? Is there a lot of customizations? So our approach is totally different. We don't say, oh, dear customer, you see, we have done 1,000 projects. We can do anything you want. Just say, we have Power BI, we have SQL, we have experiences. No. Today, that's not the way to go, because customer would not know what they want. They are not in this business to be competent what they want. Very few know. So the better approach is that we give them out-of-the-box solution, and we say, okay, this is what we believe is good for your industry, for your size, for your structure, and let's use it for 30 days. And then during this time, we discuss the gap, the missing part that will cover all your requirements, not about the whole project, but just the gap, the difference. So that is a big relief to the customer, because they already see BI4Dynamics. They see, oh, I have everything in the sales. Maybe I need to have few more attributes on customer and item table, or I want to have an HR and payroll module, or transportation module, or anything specific. Okay, that's the gap. Write down. That is something we will deliver with our tool. No issues. We want to have external source, Excel, some budgets or something. Fine. Let's write this down. And we are speaking about the gap, which is way less than if you would say, we want to deliver you a BI project. Now, because we are so efficient, that's also a handicap for the market. And the market are not, with the market, I don't mean customers, but partners. So what partners are doing today are, they are using these reports and they connect with Power BI directly, which you can do. Here you can do, but not so efficient. Also here is not efficient. And they do a model with the Power BI. They have also some templates, like we do in the data warehouse, they do it here. And I believe the only benefit of the Power BI Direct is the data are live, while ours have to be processed. But creating the same model, it's just not possible in Power BI. So that quality that we give scalability that SQL provides, and easiness of doing any changes, Power BI cannot achieve. Because we do it programmatically, you have to do it manually. So partners are offering this Power BI module, and they say, well, if I give customer a Power BI, then I can charge everything, and everything is, my revenue. Like if they buy BI4Dynamics, they get some margin, let's say, 30%, depending on the market, 35, depending on the deal and so on. They don't get 100%. They get everything for the services that they provide. But say no, many now these days says Power BI is the way to go. However, we are not matching the same thing, because even if they do a lot of development, they would come maybe with a 15 or 20% of functionality that we are having. What is the most difficult part of our business today to sell more is to have customer attention. Once we have a customer attention, then probably we are going to sell with a very high probability, And also one thing, let's say in the last 10 years, we were mostly focused on the product development. Let's say 80-20. We didn't push too hard the development of the business outside of the head office, that we would say, okay, now we have to conquer the world. But now this is changing. This is changing more and more, and in the future, this will be an important part where we will grow. And what is important, on a very, very sound technical background. So this was how we sell, and we are very transparent, and closing the sales after they have joined the product, seen how it works, experienced our consulting knowledge. It's simple. Just one example about licensing. You will not meet that many often. There are some modules when we say this is how much you will pay for that many users. If there are more users, there'll be more. And what will be implementation services. We are very, very, very transparent. We also say, for example, what will be Azure cost. This is one example of 100 gigabyte database. So we'll say virtual machine will cost $100. Analytics will cost you at the beginning $250. You will need one disk for $50, so it'll be $400. And after 1.5 years, if you are growing 4 gigabyte every 3 to 4 gigabyte every month, then you will need more analytics, and maybe virtual machine will run a little more. But we give them all the calculations already before, so they know everything, all the details in proof of concept or presentation before they do any decision. So it's not very risky to be, and that's kind of important. So after we sell, we have a support training. Of course, after we implement, after proof of concept, if customer says yes, they will buy. There is usually not another installation. It can be, but usually cannot be. And it just means that we extend the license. Instead of 30 days, now it's a yearly license. And we just agree where the training will be.